Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 3 and we will explain about morphology. And the members of our group are Ahmad Rasif Lauzai, Nazula Silma, Dewi Rizkanur Alfiana, Nurul Kamila, and Mahalisan Fauzi. For the first slide, will be explained by Mahali.
Okay, now I'm gonna explain you about definition of morphology. The study of the structure of words. Morphology is a branch of linguistics that studies the structure of words. It is also defined as the study of forms. Morphology was originally used in biology, but since the middle of the 19th century has also been used to describe the type of investigation that analyze all those basic elements used in a language. What we have been describing as elements in the form of a linguistic message are technically known as morphemes. Morfologi adalah merupakan bidang linguistik yang mempelajari morfem dan kombinasi-kombinasinya. Frida Laksana 2008. Morphology is the study how words are built from meaning units, and this study is aimed to describe the structure of words and patterns of word formation in a language. Hamawan 2011.
So, after you know about morphology, let's discuss and learn about morpheme. So, morpheme, we can recognize the English word from such as talks, talked, talker, and talking must consist of one element talk and the other four elements suffix s, suffix r, suffix ed, and suffix ing. All these elements are described as morphemes. Okay, let me explain in bahasa. So, mari kita analisis tentang salah satu kata dari talks, talker, talk, and talking. Talks terdiri dari dua morfem, yaitu talk dan suffix s, talk dan akhiran s. Talk ini termasuk free morfem dan s termasuk bound morfem. Talker terdiri dari dua morfem, talk free morfem, suffix r bound morfem. Untuk lebih jelasnya akan dijelaskan di slide selanjutnya. Then the definition of morpheme is a minimal unit meaning or grammatical function. Units of grammatical function include from used to indicate past tense or plural. Morphemes adalah suatu bahasa terkecil yang maknanya secara relatif stabil dan yang tidak dapat dibagi atas bagian bermakna yang lebih kecil, seperti contoh akhiran s, akhiran ly, akhiran nes, box. Jadi box ini termasuk unit terkecil, tidak bisa dapat dibagi lagi menjadi bo dan x. Jadi box ini sudah menjadi bagian yang terkecil. Contoh dalam bahasa Indonesia, pensil tidak mungkin kan menjadi pen dan sil. Jadi pensil sudah termasuk bagian yang terkecil. So the example, the word renewed consists of one minimal unit of meaning new. Jadi new itu termasuk dari morfem tadi, morfem unit yang terkecil. Another meaning of unit re is the same as again and a unit of grammatical function ed. That is past tense ed. Suffix ed. The word tourist has two units of meaning, tour and east. Suffix is plus a unit of grammatical function, suffix s, that is plural. So why morpheme is smallest meaningful unit of language? It is minimal because it cannot be further divided into smaller units, karena tidak bisa dibagi lagi menjadi unit terkecil. It is meaningful in that it stands for something conceived in the speaker's meaning. Karena ini benar-benar sudah tersusun dan memiliki makna dari penutur.
Okay, I will continue the presentation. In here I will explain about morphemes. Morphemes divide into two types. There are free morphemes and bond morphemes. Free morphemes can stand alone to make a word as it does in the word happy. And bond morphemes can never stand alone but must always be attached to at least one other morpheme within a word. Free morphemes divide into two types. There are lexical morphemes and functional morphemes. Lexical morphemes such as noun, verb, adjective, and the example girl, man, house, tiger, sad, long, yellow. And the functional morphemes such as conjunction, preposition, pronoun, auxiliary, article, quantifier. And the example are and, but, when, because, on, near, above, below, in, the, that, it. And bond morphemes divide into two types. There are derivational morphemes and inflectional morphemes. Derivational morpheme is saying a part of speech. The example like happy, happiness, such as the ish in foolish and ly in quickly, and the man in payment. The inflectional morphemes is example when they're in noun plus s, or verb plus s, or in, ed, en, or adjective plus er and est.
Types of morphemes. First is free morphemes. Morphemes that can stand by themselves as single words. For example, is, new, and tour. Second is bond morphemes. There are also bond morphemes, which are those forms that cannot normally stand alone and are typically attached to another form, exemplified as re, is, at, and as. In words such as receive, reduce, and repeat, we can identify the bond morpheme re at the beginning, but the element sieve, deuce, and pit are not separate words forms and hence cannot be free morphemes. These types of forms are sometimes described as bond stems. The third is lexical morphemes. These free morphemes are called lexical morphemes. Exemplified are girl, man, house, tiger, sad, long, yellow, sincere, open, look, follow, and break. We can add new lexical morphemes to the language rather easily, so they are treated as an open class words. Next is functional morphemes. Other types of free morphemes are called functional morphemes. Examples are and, but, when, because, on, near, above, in, the, that, it, and them. This set consists largely of the functional words in the language such as conjunction, prepositions, article, and pronouns. Because we almost never add new functional morphemes to the language, they are described as a closed class of words. Next is derivational morphemes. The addition of derivational morphemes next change the adjective good to the noun goodness. The noun care can become the adjective careful or careless by the addition of derivational morphemes full or less. Derivational morphemes include suffix such as the is in Polish, the lie in quickly, and the man in payment, and prefix such as re, pre, ex, mis, co, and an. The last one is inflection morphemes. Inflection morphemes are used to show if a word is plural or singular, past tense or not, and if it is comparative or possessive forms. Noun, apostrophe s and s. Verb is as, ing, at, and an. Adjective is r and s.
Morphological description. The difference between derivational and inflectional morpheme. Derivational and inflectional is from bone morpheme. Bone morpheme is consists to derivational and inflectional. So, derivational and inflectional morpheme is word emphasizing. An inflectional morpheme never changes the grammatical category of a word. For example, both old and older are adjective. Jadi, infleksional tidak akan mengubah kelas kata walaupun ia diberikan imbuhan. Old and older. Old adjektif, older adjektif. Meskipun ditambahi dengan akhiran er, tetap menjadi adjektif. Old adjektif, older adjektif. The suffix er inflection here from Old English ra simply creates a different version of the adjective. However, a derivational morpheme can change the grammatical category of a word. Derivational morpheme merupakan morfem yang mengubah kelas kata. Ketika ia adjektif, bisa berubah menjadi kata bendakah, atau yang penting, ia mengubah kelas kata. Ketika diberi affixes imbuhan, bisa suffix atau prefix, akhiran atau imbuhan awalan. The verb teach becomes the noun teacher. Teach verb jika ditambahi akhiran er, teacher, akan menjadi noun. The verb teach becomes the noun teacher if we add the derivational morpheme er. From English, suffix er. So, the suffix er in modern English can be an inflectional morpheme as part of an adjective, and also a distinct derivational morpheme as part of a noun. Just because they look the same, er doesn't mean they do the same kind of work. So, whenever there is a derivational suffix and an inflectional suffix used together, they always appear in the order. First, the derivational suffix er is attached to teach. Then, the inflectional suffix s is added to produce teachers. Armed with all these terms for different types of morphemes, we can now take most sentences of English apart and list all the elements. For example, in the sentence, the teachers Wagner's shocked the girl's parents, we can identify 13 morphemes. So, the teacher's Wagner's shocked the girl's parents. The is functional morpheme, teach lexical morpheme, suffix er derivational morpheme, s inflectional morpheme, it is plural, will lexical morpheme, suffixness derivational morpheme, sub lexical morpheme, suffix ed functional morpheme, the functional morpheme, girl lexical morpheme, suffix s inflectional morpheme, parent lexical morpheme, suffix s inflectional morpheme. Inflectional Infleksional tidak akan mengubah kelas kata walaupun ia diberikan imbuhan. Contohnya tadi old dan older, read dan reading. Read termasuk verb, jika ditambahi akhiran ing tetap menjadi verb. Jadi tidak mengubah kelas kata. Untuk derivasional merupakan morfem yang mengubah kelas kata. Ketika ia adjektif bisa berubah menjadi kata bendakah atau kata kerjakah. Yang penting ia mengubah kelas kata ketika diberikan affixes, yakni imbuhan. Tadi contohnya teach verb. Jika teacher, jika ditambahi er, teacher menjadi noun. Happy termasuk happy adjective. Jika ketambahan akhiran ness, happiness menjadi happiness, maka menjadi noun.
My name is Dewi Rizka Nur Alfiana and I will explain about morph and allomorph. One way to treat differences in inflectional morphemes is by proposing variation in morphological realization rules. In order to do this, we draw an analogy with some processes already noted in phonology. Just as we treated phones as the actual phonetics realization of phonemes, so we can propose morph as the actual form used to realize morpheme. For example, the form cats consists of two morphs, cat plus s, realizing a lexical morpheme cat and an inflectional morpheme plural. Another example is the form buses also consists of two morphs, bus plus es, realizing a lexical morpheme and an inflectional morpheme plural. So there are at least two different morphs, s and es, used to realize the inflectional morpheme plural. And then let's move to the allomorph. Just as we note that there were allophone of a particular phoneme, so we can recognize the existence of alloforms of a particular morpheme. That is, when we find a group of different morphs, all versions of one morpheme, we can use the prefix allo. That means one of a closely related set, and describe them as an allomorph of that morpheme. Let's look at the morpheme plural, which indicates there is more than one. Here we have the example, cat plus plural become cats, bus plus plural become buses, sheep plus plural becomes sheep, man plus plural become men. In each of these examples, the actual forms of the morph that result from the morpheme plural are different. Yet they are all allomorph of the one morpheme. So, in addition, s and es, another allomorph of plural. In English seems to be a zero morph because the plural form of sheep is actually sheep plus zero morph. When we look at man plus plural, we have a vowel change in the word. A becomes a as the morph and produce the irregular plural form man. Maybe that's all the presentation from our group. If there are any mistakes, please forgive. And if there are any question, please write it down in the discussion forum that is provided on e-learning. Thank you for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.